Welcome everyone to the NCL Recruiter Pitch Day event. I'm Emily Calandranis, the Community Engagement Manager for the National Cyber League. The mission of the NCL is to bridge curriculum to careers, and with our community resources, we're here to help our students begin their cybersecurity careers. We're thrilled to have so many of you join us today to learn about exciting opportunities with our wonderful partners and to take those next steps towards the cyber role of your dreams. So what to expect? Please note that these sessions are going to be recorded and will be available on LinkedIn and the NCL YouTube channel. So you can go ahead and watch this post-event, or if you have to leave a little bit early. We encourage you to share with others in your circle and connect with the presenters post-event. Today, we have 4 incredible companies that will be sharing about open entry-level roles and internship opportunities, as well as sharing about company culture and community. Please keep in mind that not every organization will be a one-size-fits-all. Be open to the opportunities that are being shared, and even if there aren't any roles that necessarily pertain to you right now, use this time to network and grow your connections. So for the presenters, each presenter will have about 7 minutes to share, and the representatives will also be popping into the chat to connect with the audience. So if you have any questions or you'd like to exchange info, please go ahead and use the chat function. Throughout the entire event, there's going to be the chat box available where you can ask questions and interact with our presenters. And we will also be identifying a handful of questions towards the end of the event. So go ahead and ask your questions. It might be one of the ones that we share with the entire group. For our audience members, we will be sending out a post-event survey. We'd love to hear your feedback and appreciate you taking the time to fill out the short survey. That should be going out in the next couple days. Okay, so that's all the housekeeping. We're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment. And we are going to have the 4 organizations go one after another. And the first presenter is going to be it's going to be Kathy from CypherTech. So Kathy, whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine McMillian, the recruiting lead for CypherTech Solutions. We are a digital forensic company, and we've been around for 18 years. As a small federal contractor, the work that we offer is extremely mission-driven. Our headquarters is in Vienna, Virginia, and we also have multiple offices in Maryland, Florida, with a few special outliers. You can think of each location as a digital forensic lab, and each has a very special mission support. The work is either federal crimes, counterintelligence, or counterterrorism related. We predominantly staff software developers who write code in support of digital forensics, and it can be broken into 2 missions. Traditional digital forensic tool development and automation, that's one mission, and the other malware reverse engineering. We also staff teams of digital forensics examiners and cyber intel analysts. Working here literally gives you a chance to wake up each morning using your keyboard to help protect national security. The same 2 gentlemen who founded this company are still running it today. Employees at CypherTech have a strong voice with those company owners, as well as an opportunity to grow under their direct guidance. Once you get your foot in the door, you can also largely self-direct your career. Some other things that set CypherTech apart are our commitment to creating a healthy work-life balance and our low turnover rate. And most importantly, we've never had to let anyone go due to lack of work. So if you can change to the next slide, you can see the various types of software developers and engineers that we hire. At the entry level, while we have some hybrid front-end work, most of the software development is on the back end. The main programming languages that we use are Java, Python, C, C++, and C#. And it's also helpful if someone can read and write assembly code, specifically read it, such as x86. While we have plenty of full-time work to offer, we do not have internships at all. I know that's the #1 question I get, and I'm sorry we don't. But again, we do have very meaningful careers that will come post-graduation. Okay, the next slide. Applicant guidelines are strict, so everyone who applies must be willing and eligible to be sponsored for a U.S. government security clearance. We do not have any uncleared work to offer. A college degree is paramount. All software developer and engineer positions require that you have either completed a degree in one of our acceptable degree types, or that before you apply, you are at least within 12 months of graduation. The core makeup of our company are those with computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, or math degrees. Some of you may have a cybersecurity degree, and many of our pure reverse engineer positions will accept a cybersecurity degree. However, we are not able to take cybersecurity for software developer roles. And finally, any applicant must be willing to work on site. Due to the sensitive nature of work that we perform, remote work is definitely not an option, but the good news is that we do offer relocation assistance. So if you want to jump in and apply to some of our positions, Franz or Emily, if you're able to switch to the next slide. There we go. These are some of the main positions that most entry-level bodies apply to. Naturally, you can also view our CypherTech Solutions website or even the Cyber Skyline job board to view additional job postings. Note that we're hiring for all levels to include true entry-level positions with no prior experience, or if there's someone out there with a vast amount of years post-graduation experience, we're certainly happy to speak to you as well, and we invite you to apply. Those that do apply, regardless of experience level, will need to take part in a technical challenge. That's the baseline test. If your application is approved, we'll issue a job-specific task. You'll have as much time as you need to make it perfect. And once you do turn in that submission, if you pass it, we will grant your interview instantly. If you have any questions, of course, you can email us at recruiting@cyphertechsolutions.com. And don't forget that you can scan the QR code to network with us. And actually, when you fill out the form after scanning the code, upon completing that form, you'll receive an auto-generated email with some really great information about CypherTech, to include some day-in-the-life examples of the work that our employees perform, as well as some really awesome study recommendation guides. That was a lot, so thank you so much for listening. I hope that I've piqued your interest in a career at CypherTech, and we look forward to receiving your application.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And again, if anyone has any questions for Kathy or about CypherTech, please go ahead and put them in the chat. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move now with Anna from CrowdStrike. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I know I've been in this room before, so I see a couple familiar names in the chat. But for those of you I have not been introduced to, my name is Anna Shu. I am one of the university recruiters here at CrowdStrike. I work with a lot of our cybersecurity teams and manage our partnership with the National Cyber League. So super excited to be here for another amazing Recruiter Pitch Day. So thanks for hosting us. I want to get started just with an introduction to CrowdStrike. So for those of you who are not familiar with us, we are a global cybersecurity company. We were founded back in 2011. Our founders really wanted to fix what they saw as a fundamental problem in the industry, was that the attacks of yesterday and today were not being solved effectively with outdated malware-based defenses. And so they came up with this solution to pair up a cloud-native endpoint protection with expert intelligence. And that allows us to be united in our mission, which is to stop breaches. And so we say the rest is history. At CrowdStrike, we do provide a multifaceted approach to cybersecurity. So, of course, endpoint protection is a big part of that through our Falcon platform. But we also offer threat intelligence. Our latest intel briefing just came out. So if you are interested in learning more about what's happening, you should definitely look that up. It's a really cool read, long read, but a really good one. So we have a great intelligence department. We also offer managed threat hunting to a lot of our clients through our Overwatch teams, along with strategic advisory services and consulting. So we really take that multifaceted approach here to provide not just that endpoint protection, but really a holistic protection approach to our clients. So today I want to talk a little bit more about our internship program. I know we probably have a mix of folks in the room who are interested in internships, but also, looking for entry-level roles. So I'll talk a little more about our internship program and share some open roles, but can also share our career site so you can find those open entry-level and middle range roles as well. But our internship program here at CrowdStrike, we offer between 8 to 12-week internships. The vast majority of our internships are 12 weeks, typically starting in June and running through the end of August. Our sales organization, which does have some technical roles, is about 8 weeks over the summer with the option to continue, part-time in the fall or spring. All of our interns do receive a lot of support. So in addition to your manager for your role, so like, your direct supervisor, you also have what we call a CrowdStrike champion. So a champion is really a person who is there to support you and mentor you throughout the program. So, they're going to be there as a sounding board, as somebody to have a coffee chat with, to go to if you have problems that maybe you don't feel like bringing to your supervisor. You have that champion, that additional support throughout the summer, which is really optimal. We provide a ton of ongoing one-on-one feedback, both from your mentor as well as your director. Our interns always report to us that they actually get to work on meaningful and impactful projects. So things that, oftentimes are actually rolled out internally or to our clients. So you're not just going to come on and watch other people work. You're actually going to be involved. You also get to work alongside a global team. So at CrowdStrike, most of our interns are actually remote. We are a remote first company. About over 80% of our roles here are going to be remote roles. We do have 9 US based offices. We do have a couple of teams that work in person. But we have interns as well as full-time folks in tons of different countries. So the US, the UK, Romania, Singapore, India, and Australia, I believe, are all of the countries that we offer. So you actually get to meet people, not just from, the area that you're from, but from around the world, which I think is really cool. We also offer a lot of programming for interns. So we do this really great executive speaker series. It's where our interns actually get to interview our executives. So it's a really cool opportunity to have that, option to actually meet and ask questions directly to folks who are at the top of the industry and have these really amazing backgrounds and experiences to share. We do tech talks with different departments throughout the company. So even if let's say you're on the Falcon Complete Analyst team, but you want to learn about threat hunting or you want to learn about professional services, we do different tech talks to allow you to get to explore different areas within CrowdStrike. We offer professional development workshops. We have intern socials. We do a big spirit week. Last year, the theme was camp. So all of our swag and our events were all kind of themed around color wars, which was really fun. And then we do also do intern spotlight. So we have intern blogs that they post, along with a project showcase that you can opt into at the end of the summer. We actually get to share the work that you did with people across the country. And we also have a mentor program for the interns as well. So just a lot of different ways for you to be able to connect beyond just your specific team. All of our interns are paid, so we do have a competitive pay. We also offer paid holidays over the summer, including your birthday. If you have your birthday over the summer, you don't have to work that day, which is awesome. Some paid sick leave, along with being able to opt into our 401k program. So some really great benefits there. Like I mentioned, we have a ton of different facets here at CrowdStrike. So we'll have opportunities within intelligence, within Overwatch, Falcon Complete, professional services. We also have a lot of different engineering roles here at CrowdStrike, and a lot of those are kind of more security based. So, even if you're more of a cybersecurity type of student, engineering is going to have some options for you. Data science, IT, customer success, technical sales, marketing, finance, HR. There's a ton of different options here. So really anything that you're looking for, we're probably going to have an internship opportunity for that. And I would say for full-time, it's kind of the same. I believe last time I checked, we had over 300 full-time roles currently posted. So a lot of different opportunities that you can check out. So definitely, be getting those applications in if you see something that you're interested in. In terms of current roles, and we will put the links for these in the chat, but we offer 2 right now that we're hiring for cybersecurity. These are both intended for students who are graduating a little bit of a longer timeline, so December 2025 to May 2026. The Falcon Complete Analyst Launch Intern, that's going to be part of our SOC team here at CrowdStrike, so really great opportunity if you're looking to break into the field. You do have to be in person for that, either in San Antonio, Austin, or St. Louis, but we do have options for relocation. We're also hiring for our Security Advisor Launch Intern, again, December 25 to May 2026. That's based in San Antonio. This is also on the Falcon Complete team, but this is a little bit more of a customer-facing type of role. So if you're looking for kind of a mix of technical and customer support type of skills, this is a great opportunity for you. We're also currently hiring for our launch sensor engineering role. This is a remote role, again, looking for December to May 2026 grads. This is for like CS type of majors. If you have experience with C++, kernel development, driver development, agile process debugging, anything like that, it's going to be a great opportunity. We have some marketing roles that are going to be posted as early as next week as well. And some of those are more technical. So there's one I'm going to be hiring for, which is a product marketing role, which actually had a CS major as their intern last summer. So going to be some different opportunities kind of depending on your area of interest coming up soon. To apply, you'll want to go to our company career site. Actually, I'm going to go to this page here. We'll put this link in the chat as well, but you can go ahead and scan this QR code if you'd like. As long as you input your information here, I would say within the next couple of days by Friday, I will send a follow-up email with all of our links to our career site and all of that, and get you in our pipeline, highlighted as your partnership with the NCL. So definitely sign up here. Again, we'll pop that link in the chat, or you can grab that QR code. I'll give you just one more minute. And then we'll be following up, with that email with more information as well. Okay. And I know we'll get to questions at the end. So sorry, actually probably shouldn't have put this in here, but if you have additional questions, definitely pop them in the chat. We do also have our university recruiting emails. So you're always welcome to follow up with us. I'll put that in the chat as well, but it's just university.recruiting@crowdstrike.com. And then there is our university intern page. So thanks again for having me, and looking forward to answering some questions later on as well.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Anna. And if anyone has any questions about CrowdStrike, we also have Nina from CrowdStrike in the chat along with Anna. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to have Paul from the US Digital Corps share a little bit about their programming.
Hey, thanks, Emily. I appreciate it. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Augusta. I'm the cybersecurity lead for the US Digital Corps. I'm just going to talk to you for the next 5 to 7 minutes about what the Digital Corps is, why it was stood up, and what makes us unique, and lastly, how to join. Before I talk about what the US Digital Corps is, let me kind of frame the problem that we're trying to get after, really just using one OPM, Office Personnel Management statistic for context. For every 2 technical federal employees eligible for retirement today, right? Those that are like one crappy email away from hanging it all up. There's only 1 technical federal employee under the age of 30 to replace them, right? And if math is not your jam and it doesn't work for you, let me just state it. The federal government doesn't have a sustainable technical employee model, right? In a field that's constantly expanding. And in order to tackle this, the Biden-Harris administration stood up a few initiatives, but the Digital Corps in general to get after that. So what are we? We're a full-time paid 2-year federal fellowship program. Our program is focused on integrating early technical career talent and recent graduates across the federal workforce. During the fellowship, during the 2 years, you're actually a federal employee on what we call a career ladder position, which means you're guaranteed promotions twice throughout the 2-year fellowship. And at the end of the fellowship, you transition as a permanent federal career employee at the GS-12 level. If that means anything to you, it's more a mid-tier level. Our program really focuses on 5 career fields, what we're calling tracks, right? Software engineering, data science and analytics, product management, design, and lastly, but the best, cybersecurity, which I think most folks are here for. All right, so let's take a minute to talk about what makes us unique, what makes us different than applying to any other federal job on USA Jobs. First off, we meet you where you're at. You're not applying to a job, you're actually applying to a fellowship when you apply to the program. We partner with dozens of federal agencies across the country who are in need of junior technical talent, which is pretty much every federal agency, right? And we place you based on your skill set, your education, your location, whether you're willing to relocate or not, your desired work type, whether that be remote, hybrid, full-time, et cetera. And when you're in the program, it's on us to map you to that agency based on your desires and needs, right? And since we get about 3 times more agency requests for fellows than we can actually staff, we're able to ensure that fellows get impactful work that fits their background most of the time. Secondly, and probably most importantly, we pay better than traditional entry-level government positions, right? Like it's no secret the government entry-level positions are a hell of a lot less than industry positions, right? In order to combat that, we've been authorized special incentive pay, which provides an elevated salary across both years. And we just use an example. If you don't know, government pay is location based. You get a basic sum plus locality. So we'll use the figures for DC. An entry-level GS9 position in DC makes about $68K a year if you're looking at the 2024 stats. A USDC fellow at that same grade, U.S. Digital Corps fellow at that same grade in DC starts at over 80K. Right, so it's just something that we do to make us a little bit more advantageous and try to put us closer to on scale with industry. Third thing that sets us aside, right, is learning and development, right? It's one of the fundamental concepts or components that our fellowship was built on. And there's a ton of different pots of money to do learning and development from. As a fellow, you get your own individual pot of money, generally 2 to 3K a year, that you can use on pretty much anything you want, assuming it's in the realm of professional development. Right, there's also a certification budget for all of the cyber fellows. So, you know, cyber certifications are important in the federal government. So charting your pathway, there's a budget set aside for that for everybody. And we've had folks pursue everything from kind of the basic CompTIA A+ all the way up to a little bit more of the advanced ones. We just had our first fellow pass his CISSP. Lastly, there's a cyber group budget that I hold, right? And one of the things that we're allowed to do is, you know, this year we were able to take all the fellows to the National Cybersecurity Summit in Huntsville, Alabama. If you haven't been to that, it's awesome. A week long, plenty of opportunities for learning. It also allowed us to purchase Flipper Zeros for the entire track as well, which is super awesome. Lastly, the fellowship is really, it's cohort driven, right? So we have 2 cohorts on at a time. You know, one cohort starts each year, one cohort will graduate. So, you know, really you're starting with an entire group of fellows who are kind of going through the same thing as you, some of them at your same agencies. And then you'll have a senior group of fellows who are on their second year, a lot of them at the same agencies as well, right? So that just you have a peer network on day one, right? And I think the good news about having a cohort spread across the federal government, you know, we're all working on similar or the same problems, right? They look and taste and smell a little bit different based on what agency you're at, but being able to crosstalk across agencies, which we don't really do well in the federal government, is key. And having cohort members that you work with on a day-to-day basis at those different agencies allows you to just crosstalk a little bit better and bring in best practices and lessons learned. All right, now that I talked a little about what makes us unique, let's talk about the cyber fellows, what our cyber fellows are currently doing. We really have to your right, you'll see the listing of just some of the agencies that have cyber fellows at them. But really the work that they do spans the gamut of cybersecurity. We've got everything from policy development, if that's your jam, not mine, right, to direct protection, right? We've got fellows who are currently supporting security posture testing, both physical and logical, if that makes sense to you, in U.S. facilities worldwide. We have some fellows that have traveled to pretty much every continent in the last year and a half that I've been here, which is super awesome. We have fellows supporting government-wide identity access management. If you are familiar with login.gov, if you ever applied to a USA Jobs or a federal employment, you should know login.gov. But we've got fellows working on kind of the next iteration and the next generation of identity access management across the entire federal government. We've got fellows at CISA developing the next iteration of IB&V, independent validation and verification training for the entire federal workforce. Like I said, one of the great things about having this cohort driven design is that, you know, as this training is being developed, before it's even pushed out to the rest of the federal, local, and state workforces, right, our fellows have access to it as it's being built, which is super awesome. And then we've got, you know, fellows doing kind of traditional new tech analysis, looking at doing, you know, vulnerability assessments of new technologies before it's brought into the greater good, as well as doing, you know, your traditional information systems security officer operations of hardening and monitoring activities of applications that are already live. When it comes to kind of where we're at, about half our cyber team is fully remote, and the other half is hybrid. While we do have some in-person, like full-time in-person gigs, most of them don't exist. And if they do, it's basically the TS positions, right, that require you to be in on site. Yeah, that being said, how do you apply? How do we figure out what's going on, right? Go to our website. Everything we have is listed there. Any questions you may have, I guarantee you can be answered there. We've got layouts of every fellow, what they're doing, what their background is, what agency they're supporting. We've got our timelines. We do selections once a year. We're in the process of currently doing our 2024 cohort selection, which will start this July. Applications generally open October, November, and the cohort will start in July. Our July 2020 fellowships will open this October or November. If you go to our website, you can subscribe to our newsletter. That'll allow us to keep you up to date. We do have hour-long information sessions a few times a year. We can let you know when those are, but more importantly, we can let you know when the application window is open. I think that's me. That's my time. I wanted to thank you guys for coming out today, and thank you for putting me in the chute and allowing me to brief this. I'll hang out in the comments and try to go back and answer some of the comments that I clearly have not been able to read as I've been talking. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Paul. And if you have questions for Paul and the U.S. Digital Corps, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And keep in mind, we will be selecting some questions for the open Q&A in just a little bit. So if you haven't had your question answered, we'll do our best to get as many as we can during that time. But also, please reach out and use the contact information that the presenters have been sharing with everybody. So last but certainly not least, thank you so much for waiting in the wings. We are happy to present Mike from MAR for Cyber, and then his colleague John will be joining in just a little bit as well. Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So quick introduction. My name is Mike McAllister. Work for the Marine Corps, Department of the Navy. And the job that I do is Deputy Director of the Joint Mission Operations Center. I have my John Galliano that's with us as well. He is a Technical Director for Defensive Cyberspace Operations. I'll give you a little insight into what the Joint Mission Operations Center is, so JMOC for short. We provision, operate, and maintain cyber infrastructure that supports U.S. Cyber Command combat capabilities that are executed in support of or in conjunction with adjacent U.S. Cyber Command or partnering joint and coalition cyber forces. And this enables the freedom of action across all warfighting domains and denies the same to our adversaries. Essentially, it's a little bit of defense and a little bit of not defense or support to that. To help fulfill that mission that we run, we were hiring. And so that's why we're here talking. We were here last year. It was a pretty great turnout and great questions that we received. The positions that we have range from, they're all government civilian positions, appropriated fund, DoD positions. They range from the GG9 level all the way up to GG15 level. Like the previous Paul spoke about in the previous presentation, the positions are in the cyber accepted service. So they do rate in some cases, or in most cases, some special pay that can be a various percentage over the standard locality pay for the area, which is in Maryland in the National Capital Region for that pay amount. The positions that we have, few different sections within the JMOC. So we have an operations section that essentially leverages all the information knowledge management that we have going on and project managers to fulfill customer requirements, which is those various adjacent cyber units that we interface with. So the jobs that we have in operations are information knowledge managers. So think like workflows, pipelines, various information knowledge management systems. We have some project managers that do direct interface with the different customer organizations. So they receive their requirements. They ensure that all those requirements are fulfilled and met in a timely manner. We also have watch officers, and that's 24/7. So those watch officers are there to make decisions when it comes to like the tactical level when cyberspace operations are being executed. We have a network operations center as well. So all of the things that drive the JMOC So within those, within that role in the NOC, we have network engineering positions. So think like CCNA, CCNP level, JCCIE or CCIA. Although that's pretty senior level. So these are probably more junior level positions. We also have sysadmins. So we have different tiers of sysadmins working within that NOC. We have some leadership positions across ops, the NOC, and then of course we have the defensive cyberspace operations. And so we have a SOC that runs 24/7. We have a change compliance section. We have a digital forensics section. We have different tiers of SOC analysts. Those folks are, again, there's shift work for that. We have detection engineers. We have threat hunters. We have digital forensics and incident response personnel. So lots of different job opportunities. You guys can see on the slide, there's a little bit more about that. Like in the first presentation, we talked about clearances. That absolutely is a requirement. These are TSSCI level positions. And there is a counterintelligence polygraph that is given as well. And we do, in some cases, sponsor folks for clearances. So don't think just because you're in on this call and you don't have a clearance that you're not eligible. There's a small portion or small percentage of clearance sponsorships that we're willing to do depending on the skills of the candidate. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. John Galliano. He is our Defensive Cyberspace Operations Technical Director, and he's going to give you a little bit more about DCO and some of the job opportunity specifics.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon. I appreciate the turnout and your attention. There's probably 100 other things you could be doing right now, so I do recognize that your time is valuable. I want to start off by just talking a little bit about, breaking into cyber. I am a adjunct faculty member at several different universities. I've been doing that for about 15 years. And I cross paths with many, many students that are trying to break into cyber. And, a common theme that I hear is, they say, hey, I've spent all this money and, put forth this effort getting this degree, and I can't really seem to really find any employment. I'm having a hard time. I'm not getting any bites and things along those lines. So I want to give you a little bit that you can kind of lock onto here this afternoon. Now, there are two resources that I share with all my students. And I'm going to share my screen real quick here because I want you to be able to see that. And you should see a website pop on in your window there. I'm also going to put that link in the chat so that you have it later on. You can copy this from the chat window. So this is a site called CyberSeek. I like it because their headliner is Hack the Gap. Now, when you come into the site, you have two buttons you can click on, Explore the Heat Map or Explore Career Pathways. I'm going to go to the heat map. Now, a short synopsis of what this site is about is this is where the jobs are. Now, you've probably heard that there are hundreds of thousands of openings for cybersecurity related positions across the United States. And this site will help you figure out where those positions are, right? So that you're targeting things effectively. Now, I'll use my home state as an example. Obviously, right now I live in the Washington, D.C. area, but I'm originally from Oregon. And if I hover over Oregon, I can see there's approximately 5,000 to 400 jobs available for cyber personnel in the entire state. Now, if I change to the metro areas button, I can see that, oh, wait a minute, this area where I'm from, there isn't anything cyber related. I'd have to go to the main metropolitan areas in Western Oregon. So this is a really good way to get an idea of where the jobs are available. And if you're thinking about making a move, where that might be. And then as you scroll down here, you'll have a lot of statistics to kind of work from. And this is where the real meat of this site comes into play. First of all, the site is organized by the NICE career taxonomies, right? So if we're talking about defensive cyberspace operations, those jobs are going to fall into the collect and operate area. And you can see there are about 181,000 positions available. Over to the right, you get to see, based upon certifications, what employers deem as important. These are people already in cyber positions and the certifications that they hold now. If you look at the openings tab, you'll see how many openings are requesting those specific certs. So that may be very valuable to you. Now, the second site that I want to share with you is the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Careers and Studies. I've just put the link into the chat, and I'm going to change my tab here because I already have it up. And this is the Cyber Career Pathways tool. Now, I like this kind of Venn diagram graphic that they have here. All the way to the left is kind of your IT stuff. All the way to the right is your pure intelligence. They have this purple box to depict the cross-functional areas. And as you scroll down here, you'll see all of these jobs that are color-coded to that graphic above, right? So if we were talking about cyber defense analysts, for example, well, that's going to fall in the green area. So if I look at the green area here and hover over this, I can get a really good idea of, what careers are related, what I might be able to feed into. And if I click through into cyber defense analyst, it'll give me the main position and then all of the related positions. So I think I saw in the chat somebody was interested in digital forensics, right? That's going to fall under the incident responder career area. Now, over to the right here, you get a nice description of what a cyber defense analyst does, what some of the functional job titles are. You can even look at some supporting documents. And then these tabs are going to be very useful to you. You can see a complete listing of tasks that a cyber defense analyst would engage in, right? That's a fairly long list, but very detailed. You can also see the knowledge areas, the expected skills, and the abilities. We call these KSAs. You can look at some capability indicators, see some common relationships, both on and off, look at federal data specifically, and then there's a really cool thing called this micro challenge. Now, if you click through that button right there, it'll take you to this virtualized environment that's operated by the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency. And it's like a 15, 20-minute exercise. You go in there, you solve some challenges, and you can see where your strengths and weaknesses are. So I would encourage you to give that a try. Again, that was off of the NICS site under the Micro Challenge tab. Attempt the Cyber Defense Micro Challenge. Okay, so hopefully you find those resources helpful. Now, what I'd like to transition to is what I call my testimonial. I want to share with you what I like about working for MAR4 Cyber for the Marine Corps and in general, my career in public service. I have three things to share with you. First, I get to be part of something that's much bigger than myself. For me, it's not so much about the money. I could make a lot of money in cyber, but public service for me has been something that I've been involved in my entire life. I'm a former military member. And I like the fact that I can contribute to something much bigger than myself and be part of a larger team. And it just doesn't get any better than working in national defense. Second, at MAR4 Cyber, I really feel like I'm part of a family. And I know that may sound like a cliche, but nowhere else have I worked in the federal government, active duty military, or civil service where I felt like I was more part of a family than at MAR4 Cyber. And then third, MAR4 Cyber is genuinely committed to my professional development. They provide me with ample training opportunities and opportunities for growth. I couldn't be happier, and I would love it if you would join us also at MAR4 Cyber. I can guarantee you that if you do, you will find ample challenge and job satisfaction. You'll never have a dull moment. I want to thank you for your time, and that's all I have for you.
Thank you, John and Mike. That was exceptional. Thank you for the resources, and we had some great questions and kudos coming up in the chat from MAR4 Cyber. So thank you so much for sharing. And a lot of the information that Dr. Galliano just shared really does go hand in hand with the NCL scouting report. So put those resources together and see how you can put your best foot forward when you're looking to move forward in your cyber career and when you're going through the interview processes and really figuring out where is your space in the cybersecurity world. So wonderful resource. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, now we're going to transition to the last leg of this event, and we're going to go through some open Q&A. We do have some questions that we've designated for particular people who are presenting, and we're going to go ahead and start with Anna. Anna, we have a question for you from Thomas Anderson, and the question is, it's a little bit long, but we'll get there. It's a good question. I have been in IT for quite a while, but really want to refocus over to cybersecurity, DFIR role. I am having problems getting interviews. It seems it may be because I don't have enough cyber experience on my resume, or I have too much experience for low to mid-level jobs. What suggestions do you have?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Thomas. I think career changing is always a challenge, right? But a lot of folks have done it and been successful. And I think you got some great advice from the last presenter. I would say specifically with incident response roles here at CrowdStrike, I know a lot of the folks that come in, they have come from an incident response background. So I think if there's, potentially a way to start with a smaller company or to start even doing some work in your current organization, that could be a great way to start to develop those skills. There's also certifications that we often see that folks will have that are very helpful. So the GIAC has quite a few. There's like the forensic analyst, the incident handler, network forensic analyst. We also, for us, like cloud security types of certifications are super helpful for those roles. You also might consider, if you have a dream company that you're interested in working for, maybe see if there's a role that might align with some of your experience. So maybe it's you start at your dream company in IT and try to find ways to, work through that organization. So for us, for example, if you're in a role for 1 year, that's when you can kind of start to apply for internal transfers. So definitely an opportunity there. But really looking at job descriptions, looking at the job descriptions that you're applying for, what are they saying that you have to have and what are the nice to haves? And then how can you try to, make your experience apply to that, but also what skills can you develop, that they're looking for? So I think that's really important. And then networking, of course. So organizations like, NCL, if you meet folks through here, but different cybersecurity national organizations, it's always really important to network and try to reach out to folks and, just try to hear about what their paths looks like. I think that is a super helpful way to kind of, again, figure out what you need to do to build that resume up.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Anna. And for all these questions, remember, we're putting these presenters on the spot. So thank you for such a thoughtful response. We're going to now move forward. And this question is for anyone who would like to answer. I have a few of these woven in. So if this sounds like a question that you would like to answer, please let me know. So this next question is from Paulino. And the question is, how can someone stand out when applying without any cybersecurity work experience? Now, his specific case is he has a degree in cybersecurity. He has a whole bunch of different certs. But I think this really can go across so many other people's experiences. How can they stand out when they have transferable skills, but not necessarily cybersecurity work experience? Anybody on the panel that would like to hop in and talk about this, you can raise your hand and we can bring you on. Wonderful.
Okay, so for me, for what I see in people that don't have a lot of experience, what I look for in people is passion. So are there ways to demonstrate passion without having the direct work experience? Sure. When people tell me about their home labs that they have set up, or side projects that they have going on with something related to something IT related or cybersecurity related, or maybe a project that they have in GitHub that they stood up on their own, or learning that they're doing on their own time, like watching YouTube videos. There's so much information that's out there for free. Things that kind of demonstrate, hey, I'm doing this more for just the money is, to me, a big indicator, right? If I could somehow also understand, kind of get an idea of the career trajectory they're on based on their resume, And if we had an indicator and aptitude, that's another huge one that helps us be more comfortable with bringing somebody in with less experience, that we can use the tools that we have and the funding that we have to put them through training to get them to where they need to be. And we've had plenty of people that have come in that have had very little work experience that have turned out to hit it out of the park. They're some of our best folks. Where I've had a struggle to convince the government to, we wanted to hire an individual that they were saying wasn't qualified based on the resume, but that individual, there's one in particular that I'm thinking of right now that was promoted rapidly up to, he started at a 9, he was all the way up to a 13 now. He's gotten multiple awards, and I almost look at it as a retention issue after 2 years after fighting with our HR department to get this person on board. So we're definitely looking for that stuff, and that those things that you're doing outside helps me understand that.
Fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Mike. Wonderful. And the next question is actually for the Mar for Cyber team. So this is Mike and John. We're going to get you back on. The next question is from Gilbert. And the question is, which certifications are coveted to be considered when applying to an entry-level role? I feel like when we talk about certifications, it can run the gamut. And everybody's always wondering, is it worth for me to get a specific certification? What certifications really highlight when I'm applying for a particular role? So if you gentlemen wouldn't mind taking it away.
Yeah, so it depends on what the position is. There are some positions that we have that require DoD level certification to a certain IAM or IAT level. And so if you were to look at those things, I believe that's 8140, which is transitioning to the defense cyber workforce. There are some certifications that are listed in there. If you were to think entry level, you'd probably think like Security Plus or Certified Ethical Hacker. I think Security Plus is probably one of the main entry level certs, but we're not really too cert heavy. We have our own requirements internal to be qualified for the position. So that the certs that, like I said before, the certs are probably most helpful for understanding level of competence versus an absolute core qualification that they must have in order to get in.
Terrific. Thank you very much for your time. And we're going to go ahead and go to the next question. And this question actually is going to be for Kathy and Paul. So I wanted to get a couple of different takes. The question is from Emmanuel. And the question is, what criteria do you use in selecting applicants for interviews? So Kathy and Paul, whoever would like to step up and answer that first would be great.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in, and then Kathy can talk about a streamlined process that's not government driven, so probably moves a lot faster. But I can tell you, when we in the U.S. Digital Corps look to bring people on board for interviews, we generally have two things that happen before. There's a resume review, and I will tell you that the people that do the best in the resume review have a triangle, right? There are three main components that force them to stand out, right? And it's experience, education, certifications, right? And a lot of times the folks that don't make it to are either very heavy in one and lacking in the other, right? And like I said, we're a fellowship, so we place throughout the federal government. So trying to find a well-balanced person is super hard. The other thing that we do in order to get people in for an interview is, as we're whittling down through the resume review, we actually do a test, a take-home test, if you will, right? We provide you a network diagram, some details behind it, and then we ask you, what would you do as the CISO, right? Or so just getting that allows just an opportunity for potential employees to kind of think outside the box, write a little bit, and yeah, do some actual cyber work.
So I'll just add on top of that, when we're looking at candidates for an interview, naturally we're looking at the resume. And I know a big topic today has been, well, what if I don't have any experience? And I'll just reiterate what I believe John said earlier, that if you don't have any relevant experience, get something on your resume that shows that you're thinking outside of the box and you're doing something on your own outside of school. Maybe you're attending hackathons, maybe you're going to industry seminars, maybe you're studying for reverse engineers, the practical malware analysis book. Everyone that's interested, go look at that on Amazon. That's like the gold standard that we recommend. But what are you doing on your own to make yourself a better candidate? And that's really what I'm looking at. But in addition to the resume, once your application is approved, we do issue a technical challenge, and our technical challenges are very, very job specific and very, very representative of the type of work that we offer. So if you apply to a hybrid role, such as a forensic software developer who's also a reverse engineer, you're going to get a hybrid technical challenge. And that technical challenge is going to be blended. The first part of it, what are your programming skills like? Can you work at the byte level? Can you handle binary data? Is your code clean, organized? And then you'll take that information that you create, and then you'll funnel that into a reverse engineering section that will further test you. It's a pretty big product. It's a pretty big ask. But everyone that we've had work through it has really, really given great feedback and loved the experience and learned so much along the way. So for us, the gatekeeper to the interview is really that technical challenge. Do you have the foundation to hit the ground running? Not do you have all the answers, but what is your foundation and how do you perform in this test? And if you meet certain marks, we're so happy to have an interview with you.
Thank you, Kathy and Paul. That is very, very helpful information. I know so many people in the chat were asking questions that really pertain to what are people looking for interviews. So thank you very much for giving some concrete examples of what they can do to stand out, and also to kind of what to expect from the other side. So we're going to go ahead and move forward to the next question. And this is going to be, once again, for anyone who would like to answer. This question is from Lydia. And the question is, are internship opportunities available for community college students? And these are going to be students who are in 2-year programs. So if anyone on our panel would like to answer, just let us know in our private chat, and we'll go ahead and put you on the screen. Wonderful. Anna, perfect. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. So some of our teams do accept candidates who are pursuing associate's degrees. Falcon Complete, which is a team I mentioned earlier, is one that is definitely open to associate's degrees, but quite a few of them are. Typically in the job description, you'll see the degree options listed. So it'll say, requirements, pursuing bachelor's or associate's or master's level degree, graduating XYZ date. So just pay attention to what those job descriptions are saying. But yeah, definitely we do offer some internships for associates.
Anna, before you hop back off, the next question is actually for you. So I'm going to keep you on. The next question is from Jacob. And his question is similar, but a little bit of tweak here. Are internships offered the summer after graduation or only for continuing students?
Yeah, so at least for CrowdStrike, ours are typically for continuing students. The reason that we do that is the goal really of our internship programs is to offer conversion at the end into a full-time role, right? And so when we do our planning for budgets, we plan out to have that full-time role available at the end of your degree program. So if you did an internship the summer after graduation, we wouldn't have that position ready for a year. So we typically limit it to continuing students. There have been exceptions to that in the past. What'll happen if you apply and you don't meet the graduation requirements, you will just get automatically declined. So if you ever see that happen, it's likely because you don't match the requirements in the role description. But typically it's going to be for continuing students.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Anna. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up to the last question. So we have just some time. If anyone has any other questions that you'd like to have in the chat, if you'd like to copy down information from any of our presenters, if you'd like to share your LinkedIn profiles that I see happening in the chat, this is your time to do so. We're going to go ahead and have the last question and then wrap up the event in just a few moments. So the last question is going to be for Paul. And Paul, your question is from Kyle. And the question is very specific to U.S. Digital Corps. Are there roles within the fellowship who help with the use of FedRAMP systems within the federal sphere?
Yeah, so FedRAMP, for those of you who don't know it, it's the Federal Risk Authorization Management Program. Basically, it's the compliance program for anyone wanting to use cloud products and services. Yes, we actually work pretty close with FedRAMP. The U.S. Digital Corps is housed in the General Services Administration, and we are actually housed right next to FedRAMP. So they are in the same organization as us, along with login.gov. So we actually get a lot of cross work from them. So there's a lot of opportunity to work with them directly, but also at the agencies that are implementing cloud products and services. They've always, the fellows there always have somebody they can reach back to at the FedRAMP program to help with that implementation.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Paul, for answering that question. And we're going to go ahead and close out the questions right now. We will go to the next slide. And I want to give a huge thank you to all of our presenters, Kathy from CypherTech, Anna from CrowdStrike, we have Paul from US Digital Corps, and then we have John and Mike from MAR for Cyber. Thank you all for giving your time and your attention and wonderful advice for our NCL community. We typically do Recruiter Pitch Days once each competition season, and we're hoping to increase students getting to learn more about our organizations that we partner with, and we absolutely love having so many partners being so willing to share their expertise and advice. And for the NCL community, we really appreciate your time joining us today. We will be having some future community events that we'd love to have you join. Please look out on Discord and on LinkedIn as well for those events, as well as the links to register. If anyone has any questions for the NCL community, you can reach out to us on Discord, or of course, you can reach out to us directly. LinkedIn is typically the best way to get in touch with me. I'm Emily Calandranis, and we really want to make sure that the program that we're doing is going to be valuable and impactful. So make sure you're filling out those post-event surveys as well. And thank you once again for joining us. And this will be recorded, so in case you missed or you came in a little bit late, totally fine. We'll have this on YouTube in the next few days. And thank you all for your time, and we will see you again soon. Take care, everybody.